Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. We are from third group, and here we are consisted of me as the moderator of this presentation. My name is Muhammad Keivan and in this third group we have Putri Alya, Qothrun, Salma, Shakila, and Nurul Arifin. So, without further ado, let's start with our presentation. And I, as the moderator, will be sharing the screen from here. Wait a moment, please. All right, everyone, is it visible for all of you? Okay. If you can see the screen, let's start this presentation. So the third group will be presenting the chapter 12 entitled of Striving for Engaged and Effective Intercultural Communication. So in this chapter, we'll be discussing the contents of striving for engaged and effective cultural communication. There are three key talking points that will be discussed in this presentation. The first one is about the components of competence. The second one is applying knowledge about intercultural communication. And the third one is what future holds. The first one is component of competence. The first one will be delivered by Qothrun. Sunada, please.
All right, thank you, Keivan. We start with part A, social science perspective, individual components. Number one is motivation. Motivations is perhaps the most important dimension of communication competence. It is an important aspect of developing intercultural competence. Sometimes people can become motivated to learn about other cultures and to communicate interculturally. Next, please. Right. And why might people not be motivated to engage in intercultural communication? The first reason is that members of large, powerful groups often think they don't need to know much about other cultures. In contrast, people from less powerful groups have a strong incentive to learn about and interact with more powerful groups. And the second reason that people aren't motivated is because intercultural communication can be uncomfortable. And yet, moving out of our intercultural comfort zone often leads to insights into other individuals, groups, and cultures.
All right, guys. So the first thing first is the most important part. The first one is motivation. So we will move into the second presenter. So, it's still yours.
All right. Now, continue from the previous. Individually, when we are not motivated to react out across cultural divide, we suffer from distorted perception, or we don't really know how individuals from other cultures may view us or a particular situation, and a lack of personal growth. On the social level, when we are not motivated to embrace other cultures and other ways of thinking and behavior, our organizations suffer from a loss of productivity and human potential. Not everyone gets the opportunity to contribute ideas. And the third is The third motivation is lacking in context in which historical events or political circumstances have resulted in communication breakdowns.
All right, that's one. Thank you. And the next one is about social science perspective, individual components. This one will be derived by Salma Shakila. Time is yours.
All right, thank you, keivan. Okay, the knowledge component comprises various cognitive aspects of communication competence. It involves what we know about ourselves and others and about various aspects of communication. Self-knowledge, knowing how you may be perceived as a communicator and what your strengths and weaknesses are. Acquiring self-knowledge is a long and sometimes complicated process. It involves being open to information coming in many different ways. Next slide. So, other knowledge or knowledge about other people, think, and behave will also help you be a more effective communicator. However, learning about others in only abstract terms can lead to stereotyping. To avoid stereotyping, perhaps it is better simple to be aware of the range in thought and behavior across culture and not to assume that because someone belongs to a particular group, he or she will behave in a particular way.
All right, thank you, Salma, for defining your part. And the next one is about social science perspective. It's individual component number 2. It will be delivered by Nurul. Nurul, time is yours.
Thank you, keivan. The third one is attitudes. Tolerance for ambiguity refers to ease in dealing with situation in which mass is unknown. Tolerance for ambiguity is one of the most difficult things to attain. As mentioned previously, people have a natural preference for predictability. Uncertainty can be disquieting. Please, next slide. And okay, and then empathy refers to the ability to know what it's like to walk in another person's shoes. Empathic skills are culture bound. We cannot really view the world through another person's eyes without knowing something about his or her experiences and life. In addition, cross-cultural empathy must integrate both thinking and feeling. We must try to understand not only what others say or content, but also know they feel or empathy. And then next is achieving non-judgmentalism. Is much easier said than done. We might like to think that we do not judge others according to our own culture's frames of preference, but it's very difficult not to do so.
All right, Nurul, thank you. And so, guys, we can note from this part of individual component that matter in intercultural communication, such as in attitudes that are tolerance for ambiguity and empathy, and also achieving non-judgmentalism, that the most important part of attitudes. And so we're moving to the next one. It's number 4, behavior and skill. It will be delivered by Putri Alya. Putri Alya, time is yours.
All right, Kevin, thank you. I will read about behavior and skills and social science perspective individual components. behavior and skills, there are another component of intellectual competence. Communication scholars, friend D, deficit, a list of universal behavior that actually includes some attitudes. These behavior are a display of respect, interaction management, ambiguity, tolerance, empty relation rather than text behavior and interacts posture. However, how one expresses respect behaviorally may Okay, it is enough to know how the competent behaviors vary from culture to culture. One needs to be able to put that knowledge into practice by demonstrating this behavior appropriately. Intellectual competence means being able to exhibit or adapt them to different kinds of behaviors depending on the other person's or group's culture background.
All right, thank you for repeating your part. And so, guys, we can note that in individual components, there are behaviors and skills that we have respect because there are so many cultures in the world, right? So the next one is about the part of the interpretive perspective, competent in context. An important aspect of being a competent communicator is understanding the context in which communication occurs. Intercultural communication happens in many contexts, and an interpretive perspective reminds us that a good communicator is sensitive to this context. So, as a good intercultural communicator, we have to sensitive to this kind of thing. The next one is there are 5 parts of being competent in context in intercultural communication. The first one is cultural variation in nonverbal behavior, intercultural competent in medical context, intercultural competent in mediated context, considering multiple contexts, and the last one is communicators' position within a speech community. So the next one is critical perspective competence for whom. This one will be delivered by Qothrun. Time is yours.
All right. Part C, critical perspective, competence for whom. The critical perspective on intercultural communication competence says that how good we are at communicating with people from different cultures depends on the political, economic, and historical situation. It asks important questions like who decides what makes someone competent and whose interests are being prioritized.
All right, Qothrun, thank you. So the next one is critical perspective competent for whom. This slide will be delivered by Salma Shakila. Time is yours.
Okay, for critical perspective, the critical perspective challenge us to rethink what it means to be good and intercultural communication, and encourage us to reflect on our strength and weakness. It reminds us that competence is not fixed and is influenced by the society we live in and the power dynamics between different groups of people.
Alright, guys. So in competent, that there are various skills that we can have, such as experience, knowledge, skills, behavior, performance, and goals. So next one, it's about applying knowledge about intercultural communication. In this section, it's the first one is about entering into dialogue. That will be delivered by Nurul. Nurul, time is yours.
Okay, so entering into dialogue. To connect with people different from us, we need to have real conversations. In this conversation, it's important to listen, to teach to each other, and share our stories. Instead of just talking, we should focus on understanding each other's perspective. A good listeners in intercultural communications thinks carefully before speaking. They try to deliver their message in a way that is not threatening and can be interpreted in different ways. They also consider the speaker's attentions. This kind of listening may seem unclear, but it's actually a valuable skill for intercultural dialogue.
All right, Nurul, thank you. So, guys, in entering into dialogue, we have to aware about others' people's perspective, such as when we talk and having a conversation, we just not just talking, but we can understand each other about people that we're talking to, right? So the next one is coming interpersonal allies that will be delivered by Putri Alya. Time is yours.
All right, thank you, Keivan. Becoming interpersonal allies, the dialectical approach influences becoming allies with others in working for better intergroup relations, but we need a new way to think about multiculturalism and cultural diversity, one that recognize that complexities of communicating across culture and that address power issues. Otherwise, we can get stuck within a competitive framework. If we win something, the other person or group loses, and we can only win the others lose. Things kind of thinking can you makes you feel frustrated and guilty.
All right, Alya, thank you. The next one is building coalition that will be delivered by Qothrun. Qothrun, time is yours.
Number 3 is building coalition. Building coalitions of multiple identities is not without challenges. Along the way, you may feel neglected or hurt in certain aspects of our own identities. It is essential to commit to navigating through these emotional difficulties instead of retreating to familiar identities for safety. By striking a balance between stability and change, we can lead more fulfilling lives and contribute to positive transformation.
All right, Qothrun, thank you. And the next one is social justice and transformation that will be delivered by Salma Shakila. Time is yours.
Okay, for the fourth is social justice and transformations. The first step in working for social justice is acknowledging that oppression and inequalities exist. As we have tried to point out, cultural differences are not just interesting and fascinating, they exist within a hierarchy in which some are privileged and set the rules for the others. By Allen 2004.
All right. Thank you, Salma. So the next one is the last one is forgiveness. Sometimes the cultural divide simply seems too huge. Sometimes there are grievances perpetrated by one cultural group on another or by one individual on another that are so brutal as to make the suggestion listed about sound hollow and idealistic. Although limited and problematic, forgiveness is an option for promoting intercultural understanding and reconciliation. As you noted, forgiveness is more than a simple rite of religious correctness. It requires a deep intellectual and emotional commitment during moments of great pain. It also requires a letting go, moving on, and through transformation of spirit. As guys, it's hard sometimes to forgive, and that will be the hardest part of this. And the next one is the third part of this, and will be delivered by Nurul. Nurul, time is yours.
Okay, thank you. So the third one is what the future holds. You know that we live in rapidly changing environment with increased diversity both domestically and internationally. We see these changes occurring in economic issue, political issue, historical issue, and ideological issue. How we face this past, even how they help us understand the ways that history has changed us, and what we can do to face these past injustice are an important part of rebuilding intercultural relations and intercultural understanding. First, what other states are willing to examine their past, and second, how might this historical honesty be helpful in intercultural communications? There are no easy answers to what the future holds, but it is important to think dialectically about these issues, to see the dialectical tensions at work throughout the world. Continue to push yourself to see the complexities of life, and you will have taken an important step towards successful intercultural communications. Have the confidence to engage in intercultural communications, but be aware that there is always more to learn.
All right, Nurul, thank you. So, guys, that's probably all that we can from the third group that we can deliver about this matter. So, to conclude this presentation, guys, say something about cultural differences should not separate us from each other, but rather, cultural diversity brings a collective strength that can benefit all of humanity. It's a quote from Robert Alan Qothrun. So, probably that's all that we can present to you all guys in this opportunity. Me as a moderator would say sorry if there's a mistake in my delivery or from everyone. So let's close this presentation with Hamdallah. Okay, that's probably all. Thank you for all of your participation. See you next time.